name is Natalia and today I'm going to show you something super cool and so awesome, especially if you're a Game of Thrones fan like I am. And this DIY is to celebrate the upcoming 6th season, which is right around the corner, and I'm so excited. And today's DIY is it's a miniature Iron Throne for your phone. Isn't it awesome? It doesn't weigh as much as the real Iron Throne, obviously. I have used about 150 tiny cocktail swords for doing this. Doesn't it look awesome? So if you want to make your very own Iron Throne, stick around and let's just get started. First, we need to make the seat for the throne. So take your phone and then place it 2 centimeters into the foam. Then draw a line. So this seat needs to be a square. So measure out 7 centimeters, then make a mark and then cut it out with your box cutter. Now we need to make an L shape out of this square. So place your ruler on the 2 centimeter mark and measure downwards 1.5 centimeter. Then use your box cutter to cut all around the 3 edges, but have the L shape in mind so you don't cut away too much. Now make the blade of the box cutter longer so you can cut away easily. And there's your L shape. Now the L's foot will meet the bottom of the phone. Now we need to make some armrests for the seat. Now we can take a square piece of foam, cut that in half, and then cut that half in half again. And there's your armrests. Now I've added an extra layer under my seat because I thought it was a little bit too thin. Now we also need to add a backrest, and this is more a rectangular piece that's 7 centimeters on one side and 8 on the other. And now it's time to carve it to make it look more like the Iron Throne. And while you're carving, have a picture of the real throne nearby so you have a point of reference. Now continue carving until it looks like the throne. Then glue all the pieces together using glue or glue gun. Then leave it to dry. And while that is drying, we can work on the swords. And there are 2 types of swords, one with a cup handle and one without. To remove the cup handle, take your cutting plier and then just cut it off. Now you can make as many of these cupless handles as you want. About half of my swords are cupless. Now moving on to the leather strips. If you don't have any leather, any other thick fabric will do. Now these strips only need to be 0.5 centimeter wide. So cut your strips and then make a pointy arrowhead in one of the ends. And you need to make a lot of these, both short and long. The short ones are for the armrests and the long ones are for the seat. And you need to make enough to cover the seat and the armrests. Now remove all the leather strips in one area at a time. This will give you more control over the strips, while avoiding mixing them up. Now we need to glue everything on, and start doing this on the armrests. So put some glue on a small area on the armrests and then put one of the strips on it. I'm gluing them side by side, but you can layer them. And when you're gluing the strip on, try to tuck the strip in between the crease of the armrest and the seat. And continue gluing until the whole armrest is covered. And the more you can get the strips to touch the floor, the better. Now when you reach the corner, you need to glue the strip on askew so it fits. And also remember to tuck it in between the creases. Now these strips need to be attached to the chair, so we need to glue them down. So gently lift the strips, put some glue underneath, and then glue the strips down. And that's one side done. Now we just need to repeat the same process on the other armrest. Now when both armrests are done, we need to move on to the seat. Now put some glue over the armrest strips and as close to the armrest as you can. Then place the strip over the glue, and the more the strip touches the floor, the better. Then continue gluing strips to the seat all the way over to the other armrests. When you're gluing your final strip on the seat, make sure you're covering the ends from the armrest. As before, we need to make sure the strips stay in place, so put some glue underneath them and then glue them down. And that's the seat covered! Now the only thing needed to be covered is the backrest, so take your small cocktail swords and then glue them on. Then continue gluing all the small swords on the backrest, and again use the picture as a point of reference. Now you can even glue the swords on the front and the sides to make it look more like the real deal. Now you can even cut the swords in smaller pieces and glue the different pieces onto some different places. Now you also need to cover the back of the backrest, but before using all the swords for the back, you need to make the crown on top of the throne. So put some glue on the bottom of a copperless sword and then try to wiggle the sword into the foam on top of the backrest, and then put some glue around it to secure it. And you need to make about 7 or 8 of these to make a whole crown. Now when the crown is done, continue covering your throne with all your tiny swords until you run out of swords or until the whole thing is covered. Now we need to attach the throne to its pedestal, so take a cork trivet, then find the center, then put some glue on the center, and then put the throne onto the glue. Make sure the strip endings don't get caught underneath. If some of them are a little bit stuck, use your scissor while closed and try to pull them out. Now all these strip endings need to be glued down to the trivet, so put some glue on the trivet and then glue the strips down. You can even use your scissor while closed to just tuck them in. And continue doing this with all the strips. Now because there are no strips on the back, you need to put some glue on the back to connect the trivet and the back of the throne. Then leave it to dry. When dried, try to remove as many of these glue strings as you can so it doesn't ruin the look in the end. Then take it outside and then spray paint it with the black metallic paint. Then leave it to dry completely before bringing it inside. The very last thing to do is to give it a look with some gold, copper or silver paint. Now take a little sponge and then lightly dab it on the paint and then just spread the paint all around the swords. If you have too much paint in one area, you can take some paper towel and just wipe it off. And don't forget to paint the trivet as well. And remember to paint the seat as well. Now continue dabbing the paint on your throne until you're satisfied. And that's it! Now you can either keep it for yourself or give it away to another Game of Thrones fan. I hope you enjoyed watching and thank you for leaving a like, I really appreciate it. And if you have any ideas, suggestions or questions to ask me, leave a comment in the comment section down below and I'll show you afterwards. And if you want to see the upcoming videos, you subscribe and be a part of our lovely DIY family here at the blue toolbox. So subscribe and I'll see you soon with more ideas. Bye!